Christmas is coming. It is the note that rings throughout the world entire, from east to west and from north to south. And for the youths, adults, and those of maturing age, it is a time of great rejoicing and supreme gladness. That time has come again upon the earth. It is Christmas time once more. My name is Elijah Henderson from the Cryptid Studies Institute. Welcome, friends. Please, stay a while. Another year has come and passed, like moments through an hourglass. But even at the end of this year's trail, you can still find us on the look for the mysterious monsters that intrigue the world so. This video will give you somewhat of a cryptid combo, with us venturing lightly into Land Between the Lakes, home of the Beast of LBL. And secondly, we travel into Bigfoot territory in Dixon, Tennessee, home of the White Bluff Screamer, numerous Sasquatch, and the infamous Werewolf Springs. Yes, my friends, while the majority of America huddles into their warm homes, bedecked in colorful prisming lights, while they sit comfortably enjoying the holiday season, separated from the cold by a window of frosted ice, we come to you this Christmas season in our favorite places. We choose to spend the season where the wild things are. So, without further ado, we invite you to have a very cryptid Christmas with us.
Good evening and a very, very Merry Christmas from Cryptid Studies Institute. This is Gabrielle Henderson.
Huh? Merry Christmas. This is Elijah Henderson from the Cryptid Studies Institute.
And this is Gabrielle Henderson from the Cryptid Studies Institute.
We're very honored that you're spending this time with us and watching this video. We're going to make this a special Christmas video for people watching. I don't think there's a whole lot of cryptid-themed Christmas videos out there. I may be wrong, but I don't know. I just want to go ahead and give a disclaimer. The wind is very, very strong tonight. You probably have a little difficulty hearing us. We've come down here in the middle of a lightning storm. And
it really doesn't feel like Christmas, so it's like 60 degrees.
Yeah, our Halloween video was much colder. We're filming this as of December 5th. You'll see it much later, so we'll capture that Christmas feel a lot better. But we plan to go to a lot of cool places tonight. Isn't that right, Gabby?
We sure is. Look, I hope you can notice in the video I took there was lightning in the back.
Yeah, there's been the whole sky is just flashing and glowing with the lightning.
Been very cool, very beautiful tonight.
Very much so. On our way down here, just big bolts of lightning going across the sky, just lighting the whole thing up. Very nice. Hopefully it's not going to be too wet down here. They've been calling for a whole lot of rain. It's my hope that a lot of the actual rain is out of the area, and it
is quite drier now.
Yes,
the
very much
pavement doesn't
so.
seem particularly wet. Hopefully the roads will not be particularly muddy.
But enough chewing the fat. We are going to go ahead and get out in the field somewhere. We got our gear. We got our snacks. And we're ready to have a very cryptid Christmas. Alright, y'all. We are doing something right now that I'm not sure if many people have done it before. I'll make sure to leave the car unlocked though. Pretty spooky, but we are hiking into Hotel California.
At night? At
night, yes. So let's go ahead and take this off night shot. Let's get started. Yes, I am.
So you can edit out anything we don't want on film.
Alright.
Our flashlights are going at the decent amount of lighting, though.
Yes, they are. There we have made sure to bring down some high brightness flashlights. You know, many stores of Dogman, they don't like bright lights. So we always make sure to bring something bright, or at least I do. My dad, he was of such a character. He kind of got to the point where he'd just bring keychain light out into the woods. He didn't care.
Elijah's just a flashlight snob, though. He'll search on the internet for like the most bright flashlight in the universe. If he could harness the power of the sun and put it into a flashlight, he'd probably do it.
It's true, you know. There we go, a tree that says Jesus. I love it. We take Jesus with us wherever we go. Dogman beware, Jesus is always there.
My old lady knees aren't liking this hill, though.
Ooh.
What?
The terrible side of that tree, Jesus is fake. I don't believe that at all.
Well, we'll just get a little can of spray paint and write not between is and fake.
There we go. Ooh.
Did you hear that?
I did.
I don't really know what to describe it as, but it's some kind of song.
I'm like, I'm some kind of a knock.
Yeah, it sounded more
Sorts.
like a knock. Maybe that could have just been a nut falling through the trees.
Like that.
Maybe not.
That does not sound like a nut falling, Gab.
No, it doesn't.
See, a bad thing about dogmen is that there's story upon story, they flank people. So when they're making noise in one direction, they sneak up on you in the other direction. Well, frankly, I have something precious to protect with me. Still liking out here occasionally. I do kind of wonder if that's a branch hitting something. There's that trail that goes up. That's where the people came down the vehicles. So there is a way.
On a wet, raining night like this, though.
No. So there is a way to drive down here.
That's good to know, though.
What we're gonna do, we're gonna try to just get down here fairly quick. Get a little bit of footage of the hotel, as it's called, so to speak. Oh, come on, Gab. Stay with me.
Yeah, I'll let it charge when you get to the car.
Oh, we've just been plugging it up into the cigarette lighter, charging it.
Very marshy up through here.
Yes, it is. I'll tell you what, when I was little, you couldn't have got me out in these woods.
In the daytime, hardly.
You couldn't have got me out hardly in the daytime.
You definitely changed.
When we had our experience, heard the howls at Werewolf Springs when I was about 5 years old, I couldn't go back in that part of the woods. Only time I'd go with my dad, and he about had to drag me into it. It is quite terrifying for a youngster. I've wanted footage of this place at nighttime for a little while. I just kind of forgot it was this far in. Well, I was just saying, this structure in the woods, it's far off in the woods. So really, it would be perfect for something to come down here and make shelter. And as you might be able to tell, people do drive down here. There's tire tracks. Wow, that is creepy looking at night.
It's so creepy at night.
We want to come down here and camp. I can't remember if I mentioned that already. Let's get around behind you. Yeah, I'm bright lighting you. Oh, something's crunching up there, Gab. And because of that, we're not going any further. Come on, Gab. Okay.
Hold on.
Alright, Gab, let's start turning around. We went down here. You shine yours that way, I'm shining mine behind me. Keep it shining in front of us, Gab. We're bookended in light.
Didn't sound very big, whatever it was.
Well, I'm not taking any chances, just the two of us.
Not this time. We're probably going down.
Everybody should know this is about the farthest. No, this is the farthest.
Wandered at night by ourselves.
We've wandered at night by ourselves and land between the lakes. Is that right? Not that way, Gab. That's the other road coming down. This is the road going out. Yeah, it is good. See the headlight? Well, you can't see. Yeah, there it is. Tail light reflector. Well, we're back from walking down Hotel California. We didn't go in it, but we still hiked down to it. You know, we got to see it at night and whatnot.
Somewhat creepy looking at night.
Yeah, it's pretty creepy looking at night. We're back in the car. Something we're about to do real quick. Gabby, why don't you tell about one of the old traditions of Christmas that have been largely forgotten about today?
So back around the Victorian era, one of the traditions for Christmas, believe it or not, was telling ghost stories. People would sit around and just tell each other scary stories, and it's believed to come from the fact that many Christmas traditions come from the pagan festival of Yule, when they believed the dead would walk the earth. So no one is exactly sure where the tradition of reading ghost stories on Christmas Eve came from, but it's suspected to have to do with Yule.
Yeah, and of such, we're actually going to tell an interesting story tonight. This comes from one of C.B. Colby's books. He would, his books were almost an anthology. They were miniature short, supposedly true stories of the events that happened. But this one I always found very interesting, and it's a Christmas story. So we're telling the Christmas story, and it's called The Vanishing Oliver Lark. If I can see it down here in the kind of dark vehicle. It happened in 1889 on Christmas Eve. The setting was a farm near South Bend, Indiana. 4 or 5 inches of snow covered the yards and the henhouse roof. 11-year-old Oliver Lark lived on the farm with his parents, who were giving a Christmas party for some old friends of the family, a minister and his wife, and an attorney from Chicago. After dinner, they gathered around a pump organ, and Mrs. Lark played carols while the others sang. She played Silent Night and the 12 Days of Christmas. Warm voices filled the cozy room and laughter. After a while, Oliver went to the kitchen to pop corn on the wood-burning range. At this point, his father noticed that the gray granite bucket used for drinking water was almost empty. He asked Oliver to run out to the well in the yard and refill it. The boy set aside his corn popper and put on his overshoes. He picked up the bucket and opened the door to the yard. It was just a few minutes before 11 o'clock. It would soon be Christmas, and he wanted to get back to the party quickly. His father returned to the living room to add his voice to the corral as Oliver stepped out into the night and eternity. About a dozen seconds after he'd left the doorway, the adults around the organ were stunned by screams from the yard. They rushed out the same door Oliver had used. Mrs. Lark grabbed up a kerosene lamp to light the way. Outside, the dark, starless night was filled with scream after scream of, "Help, help, they got me, they've got me." What made the adults recoil in horror was that Oliver's screams were coming from high above them in the blackened sky. The piercing cries grew fainter and fainter, and finally faded away completely as the stunned group stared at each other in speechless disbelief. The men sprang to life, grabbed the lamp, and followed the youngsters' tracks toward the well. They did not get far. Halfway to the well, roughly 30 feet from the house, the tracks abruptly ended. No signs of a scuffle or struggle, just the end of the tracks. They found the heavy stone bucket about 15 feet to the left of the end of the tracks, dropped in the snow as though from above. That was all. Oliver had started straight for the well and then had been carried away by what? He was a big boy weighing about 75 pounds, too heavy for a large bird or even several birds to lift. Airplanes had not been invented yet, and no balloons were aloft that night. Who or what seized Oliver Lark? The mystery has not been solved to this day and probably never will be. I've always found that one to be greatly interesting. If you've seen the movie, it sounds very similar to the movie Jeepers Creepers. But make that your yearly tradition, the telling of the Christmas horror cryptid story. I'm going to do it. I reckon it's about time. We're going to sit here and listen for a few minutes more, see if anything goes on, and then we're going to go to our next location. I think we're going to try for a slightly different location if I can find it, but we'll see. I'll tell you what, y'all, it's just roasting hot tonight. Terrible, terrible hot for a December night.
It's in the 60s, I believe.
And we brought all the gear in case of a cold night. I don't know how long this video will be or how exciting it'll be, but hey, it'll be something new for people to see. You know, let us show people should see what we're doing.
We had to do it almost spur of the moment due to a work scheduling, really.
Yeah.
Ideally, it should have been later in the month, but we had to work with when we could get off of work.
And I might not be my normal energetic self because it was quite a day at work. But fairly soon we are going to try to get down, hopefully, to Hotel California and actually camp down there, but we're going to do that with a group of people. I think it would just be foolhardy, so to speak, for it to just be us going down there. Okay. Alright. So we're going to largely call it on that other area we were going to. It's an area that is between two sites, one where the family was attacked and one where a couple was attacked and killed. We went to a road right in between those two areas, and well, frankly, the roads are so bad through there.
Very dodgy.
I was nervous in a few places.
We were
so
kind of getting into
go.
Dukes of Hazzard territory there.
It was worse than that. It was about the deepest ruts I've ever seen in some roads, and I don't want to tempt fate. So we're still out in out in the middle of almost nowhere. Creepy over old roads and trails through here. And there's the frog. Sounds like Boggy Creek almost.
The wind's just howling.
So, let's see. My hair's so sweaty. Goodness gracious me. Let's see if we can recreate magic with the good old dog whistle. Oh, going on the wrong end. I guess I can take my foot off the brake. We're not going anywhere. Boy, howdy, I got a neat idea. Megaphone meets the dog whistle. I don't think that worked.
No, I don't think it did.
Well, the frogs are croaking down here anyway like crazy. Yeah. I don't think there's anything down here.
I don't think there is.
It feels too relaxed.
It really does. It felt creepy at Hotel California.
Hotel California felt kind of creepy. Well, Gab, should we call it?
I think we should.
Alright, well. We left Land Between the Lakes without really anything other than a short trip to Hotel California. But not before getting caught in a torrential downpour on the way back. So we pulled over and waited the rain out and got a much needed nap. Following this trip, which was on December 5th, we decided we would try our luck in Dixon, Tennessee at a popular state park where a Sasquatch has been seen before. For those who knew researcher Mary Green, I recall that she once stated that the Bigfoots there were of the aggressive variety, and that is not including the dogmen that are allegedly seen in the area. So this is going to be the conclusion to our cryptid Christmas video. We've hit 2 locations, not in the same night, of course, but we're in a state park in Middle Tennessee. It's home of Werewolf Springs, if you're familiar with that place. Home of multiple Sasquatch sightings. Just a rock's throw down the road is White Bluff, home of the White Bluff Screamer. So we're in a place that's lush with encounters. Apparently fairly recently, or I believe it was fairly recently, there was a dogman sighting at the Walmart down the road in Burns, of all places, or so I heard, and even heard of a dogman that was seen out in the field near one of the entrances of this park. So, hopefully there's still something here. And
we had a bunch of storm damage come through over the weekend, so we don't know how that will or will not affect things.
Yeah, it was just terrible. It went. I'm sure you've seen it on the news. The terrible tornado that went through Mayfield, Kentucky, and leveled the place, and left, as far as I know, over 70 people dead, unfortunately, and which is just terrible right before the holidays. So our condolences are with the people who've suffered loss or storm damage from that storm in Kentucky or Tennessee. So we're very sorry about that. But we're about to get out here. Beautiful night so far as I can tell. It's not too dark. It's not an oppressive darkness. You can actually see the stars out, and there's a slight brightness, I reckon, from the moonlight hitting the.
Very nice evening, definitely.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And it's cold out, but not freezing.
But anyway, without further ado, we may get something, we may not. We'll see. We're out here looking. So if something wants to present itself, it can. And without further ado, we're going to start walking. It's cold. Yeah. And it's absolutely beautiful tonight. Well, Gab, did you imagine that we has taken over,
Yes.
taken over all this?
It's not so soon.
Mm-hmm. So we're getting close to a bridge down here. It's a little stone bridge. And one night in 2009, my dad and a fellow friend and researcher of ours named Nathan Davis, they were down here and they actually had an encounter with a couple of Sasquatch. It was a bit of a misty night. And they seen, you'll get to see this a little bit better in a second, two on top of the bridge, and there was one underneath the bridge and was kind of bobbing in and out, looking at them as they, as they were watching it from afar. They had kind of a it was underneath the bridge down here, bobbing in and out, getting a look at them. They're standing down that way somewhere, shining their lights at the time. No, they didn't have any kind of recording equipment or anything to film them with, unfortunately. But yeah, they were actually walking down in there. That's where we're going. And I kind of followed them out, but apparently they're kind of pacing back and forth on top of the bridge. And when they would get closer, when they try to approach the bridge, something off in this direction on the other side of the bridge would kind of stomp around and break stuff, letting them know that it didn't want them over there. So let's see, let's go ahead and go across this. Make sure to be quiet. Greatly, so it's quite cold outside, and I apologize if people are having trouble hearing me on this. We're trying to be a little quiet. see it. But the thing is, I think that's a...
It's just a shadow.
I think that's a concrete foundation. That thing.
Right into the barrier.
We came down here some nights, and it's just oppressive dark. Okay, Gab. How you doing?
Good.
Okay. I can't quite remember, but it looks like this is railing here might be just a shade new.
You know, one night a couple years ago, we were down here, and we were out here on the trail with a friend of ours. Me and my mom and dad were toward the back. Elijah and the friend were walking further up front, and we heard a weird noise. We were like, okay, those two are just clowning around, messing with us. When we finally catch up to them, we called them on it, and they were like, we didn't make any noise. So apparently something had hollered at us from the bushes.
Yeah. And like we said, we may not get anything, but we're out. We're trying to film a nice Christmas video for everybody. Shows people, you know, we're not armchair research. We do get out into the field.
Not always successful, but we do try.
We love what we do, despite occasional ridicule from people. But everybody involved in this hobby is familiar with the Bigfoot ridicule. That's nothing new. Everybody gets it. Isn't that right, Gavin?
That is absolutely correct.
Let's flip this thing back around.
Good, 'cause you're bright lighting me.
Am I bright lighting you? Truth be told, it's so bright out.
It feels calm out there.
It feels calm.
It doesn't feel oppressive to you, but it doesn't do anything.
No.
Maybe it's not late enough, but it just doesn't have that creepy feel. As nervous as he would be for us to get out alone, I think half the people that we're continuing on.
Oh, Papa's always proud of us. This particular dark stretch of woods was always a little creepy for me as a kid, too.
It's not creepy tonight. I think it is because the moon is so bright.
You got trees on both sides, on the left and the right. That light up there in the distance, that's actually a stone church up there. And on a cold night like this, and anything may just be anything out, maybe holed up somewhere keeping warm, because it's getting pretty frigid.
It is supposed to be in the 30s tonight, around 36. It was in the upper 20s this morning, and then it was in the mid 60s during the day. And you guys aren't turning in for a weather forecast.
Oh, they love a weather forecast.
But it's frigid, hot, back to getting cold.
So, while we were walking this long stretch of road, funny story for y'all today. I work at Lowe's, and I get the call to come up front and help. I was asked if I would help this lady, good-looking lady I might add, to load up this toolbox into her car. And they were, you know, talking about it was a Camaro, and I was kind of joking because, you know, this is a big toolbox. Sounds kind of like a car, but they can't see us down here. Anyway, this is a big toolbox. And I get outside, and this little tiny car pulls up while me and this other guy are standing out here waiting with this big massive toolbox. she gets out, she pops the trunk, or for you lovelies in the UK, the boot of the car. And we're just kind of analyzing the situation, seeing if there's any real way we could actually fit this in this lady's car, because she lives in Dixon, right where we're at tonight. And so we're sitting there, you know, looking at things, when these two guys come up and say, "Where are you taking that thing, sweetheart?" You know, just strutting up. And he's like, "Go grab my tape measure." And he starts measuring things. And she tells him that she lives in Dixon. And let's take this night shot off just for a minute. Yeah, there's that stone church. But anyway, he's like, "Where are you taking that thing, sweetheart?" And, you know, they start measuring things. And then, while we're all looking at this, well, soon enough, another guy shows up. He's like, "Hey, where are you taking that thing to?" So we have this just cluster of guys gathered around this pretty lady, trying to help her figure out how to get this toolbox back home. And she eventually says, "Well, maybe I'll let my husband have it as a early Christmas present, and my husband can come pick it up later." And almost as soon as she started talking about a husband, these guys vanish. No more help for the pretty lady.
Did the lady like it?
As long as, you know, as long as I could before we made the decision for her to pick it up later. And then I walked back inside with the toolbox, laughing at what I had just witnessed. And ooh, this cabin's gonna look creepy.
Oh yeah. I know the church is open. Probably not.
Well, you don't have a gander. My cousin Wanda actually got married at this church before. And one more fun fact. I don't know if any of y'all have ever seen it. Maybe not. Oh, that sounded like something.
It sounded like a dog to me. It on campers here.
Yeah, but not that way.
No, not that
That's just woods that way.
Where are the cabins?
That way. Anyway, though. What was I talking about? Now I get to make fun of you. You remember when I said don't scream out in the woods? And then I kind of yelled a little bit when I hit a divot out and land between the lakes and splashed water on the windshield, and you started making fun of me?
It was just a bird or a bat, viewers. I didn't see it, but it was just something like that.
I hope the ranger doesn't come out now, because he is awake. They probably locked this thing up yet.
Nope.
Ooh. Let me walk in there first. Get creepy nighttime church. Catch the door closing. Relaxing and creepy at the same time. I love playing that piano when I come in here, but I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna shut this off just for a second until we see if anybody's coming up that road. Yep. Yep. Alright. Let's go see that cabin. And if we don't hear something soon, we may have to head back early. Who knows?
We may have to. I really don't feel like there's anything here to hide in the cave. But yeah, I just don't have that creepy, oppressive feel.
No. Anybody who's done this a lot, you know, when something's around, you kind of get a feel for it, you know. It just gets a real dark feeling, you know. It's a real creepy feeling.
And tonight, the scariest thing so far has been that bird.
No, the scariest thing so far is Gabby. That's the scariest thing so far tonight. But I got it all on video.
Shut up.
Let's see here. One line ahead. Well, it must be getting cold because hey, Gab, stand on the left side of me away from the wood line. Uh-oh, coyotes. That sounds like those possible dog banklers. Come on, Gab. Let's start just slowly backing away. Now back. Don't run or anything, but you know, back away. Isn't that something?
Are you getting that?
I hope so. Now that is howling alongside coyotes, but
It doesn't sound like one of the coyotes.
doesn't really sound like one, does it?
It's coming from the other side of the woods.
Let's see. I did hear something. Let's see here. Coming from up that way. Yes. I hope so. There's definitely. Things kind of blurred a little bit. Hotel California rules. We saw the cabin, but Bigfoot, Dogman, coyotes. There's something over there, and it's not smart for me to take my sister over there.
I know how hard Brindle bites, so I don't reckon a pack of coyote bites you with one either.
No. Let's see, give me 1 second.
Focus again.
Barking sounds like it's kind of moving over this way now.
It is just regular barking. That didn't sound like a dog though, did it?
Yeah, I'm a little conflicted in the way that that kind of didn't sound like a coyote, did it?
No, the first sounds were definitely coyotes, but the one on the different side of the wood line, that sounded a lot deeper than a coyote.
Well, everybody in the comments, you can leave your thoughts on that. It kind of sounded like those recordings that we put up that we think maybe Dogman.
We're not saying that's what it was.
No, we're not saying that's what it
We didn't
was.
see what it was, and sounds like hard to figure, but
But
it
was
interesting. We will say that.
It was interesting, yes. Well, Merry Christmas, everybody. So far we haven't got a whole lot. That was interesting. But we hope we've made this Christmas video at least entertaining for you to watch. We meant for it too. You don't always get something. Whoa, shooting star. When you wish upon a star, you get Dogman encounters. Grant my wish, shooting star. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna listen for a little bit. We're gonna do what they did. They came out, they walked back across the bridge, and there's a bit of a wooden fence of sorts over here. We're just gonna sit and listen for a little bit. We won't bore you with just us sitting around for a little while. So if anything happens, we'll let you know. It's an absolutely beautiful night here. We got back across the bridge, and it turns out there's a lot of shooting stars going on. I've seen about 4 or 5 now, and it's just really, really nice here. I'd give a whole lot to have a few extra people down here so we could trudge a little further on, but I know it's not safe to really just do it. Just me and Gabby. She might scream at it again. At something again. Isn't that right, Gab?
Only if it was a bird, viewers.
Oh, yes. Anyway, though, let's see here. Just like we did in Land Between the Lakes, we got a little bit more of a Christmas winter themed story here. You may have heard it, you may not have heard it, but we're gonna hear another one here. This one's called Footprints in the Snow. You've probably heard this at least mentioned once before, because it is a fairly famous story. Footprints in the snow. Every so often a strange event is witnessed by hundreds of intelligent people, yet not one person can explain it. There was no denying the footprints in the snow on the morning of February 9th, 1855. The odd tracks appeared in several towns in South Devon, England. Residents of Lympstone, Exmouth, Tosham, Dawlish, and Teignmouth all reported the same thing. During the night, some weird and uncanny creature had raced in a straight line through these towns, covering 100 miles and more, and leaving behind the tracks nobody could identify. Each track, about 4 inches in length and 2 3/4 in width, was exactly 8 inches apart. They were roughly shaped like a hoofprint, and was promptly christened the Devil's Footprints by all who saw them. Even the conservative London Times printed a report of the footprints in the snow. Going straight across country, the tracks never swerved. They were found upon the top of 14-foot walls, and they crossed the roofs of barns and houses, went up and over snow-covered piles of hay, and even appeared on the tops of wagons which had been left out all night. It was as if the creature had leapt up or down, for the tracks showed no apparent change of pace or speed. In many places it reported that the snow had been branded away or melted from the ground where the feet had touched. Over the 100-mile course, the distance between the tracks never varied from the regular 8 inches. Yet how could anyone or anything travel that far in a single night without varying its stride? Too many people saw the tracks for it to have been a joke or local phenomenon. In some instances, The prints vanished at the edge of unfrozen ponds or rivers and appeared again exactly in line on the opposite side, to race away in that straight and mysterious flight across the sleeping countryside. And in all that distance, no one saw it, no one heard it. Only the tracks remained as evidence of the creature's passing. And that one's historical, folks. I've always found that one interesting. Kind of puts me in mind of like the Jersey Devil or the Spring Hill Jack, something like that. So hopefully, maybe a tad unlikely, I don't know, something will wander this way. We're gonna sit and listen for a little while, just see what happens. This park is very special to us because we've been going here since we were like 4 or 5, So we got a lot of really good memories over here. A lot of family members, a lot of campouts.
Birthday parties and just better times, really.
Birthday parties, better times. When I was riding a bicycle down here and I hit a dip and kind of racked myself a little bit. Yeah, that happened.
Swimming and canoe trips.
Oh, yes. In the summertime, there's a big lake down here. I can't remember if it's no, it's not Creech Hollow Lake.
Acorn
Lake. You can rent canoes.
Of course, back then they were $3. Now it's like $20.
Yeah, the prices now are high as a cat's back. But yeah, you can go out on the lake in a paddle boat, go down a canoe. They got a spot where you can swim. And the campground's over behind me. Just really nice facilities down here, and this park is really because of why we're out here today, because initially they showed The Legend of Werewolf Springs. We watched that, as real little kids, and then we went over to Werewolf Springs and heard all that terrible howling down there, and it just kind of went from there. So this place we're sitting in, it kind of shaped our future.
Much like Snow White, it's the one that started it all.
Is that right? I don't know. First Christmas without our parents, it kind of feels special being down here, where we had such special times with them, you know what I mean?
A bit emotional, but very nostalgic.
Yes. And as the TV's great character Don Draper once said, nostalgia takes us to a place where we ache to go again, to a time when we knew we were loved. If you've never watched Mad Men, what are you doing? And that moon, I tell you what, it is big and bright tonight. Not full, but it's sure bright as can be, I tell you what.
And I could tell you the actual percentage that the moon is at.
Oh my. So in the comments, let us know, what are you doing for Christmas? How are you going to spend the holidays? We want to know, we're interested. We haven't quite decided what we're doing for the holidays, but we think we're going to go up to some family of ours and have, as she's calling it, a country Christmas up in Indian Mountain, Tennessee.
But now I'll add you back to the important stuff. The moon tonight is a waxing gibbous at 78%.
Alrighty then, as Ace Ventura once said. I'm going to have to turn this off right now because I am quickly running out of battery. And yeah, we still got a few more things to do. Alright. Well, we decided to pack up shop. It's gone quiet. It's gone very cold. And yeah, I think that's going to call it for this particular video. Hope you enjoyed it. We enjoyed making it. Throughout the coming year, we hope to do a lot more stuff like this. More Nightmare Nuggets. More
investigations.
More investigations with preferably more people, so it's not quite as a threat to us, going by ourselves. Coyotes, boar, Bigfoot, Dogman in the rare occasion. But there are a lot of things that can happen to two people wandering out in the woods. But we plan to do more this coming year. We want to be more active on the channel. This year has been very unmerciful, so it hasn't left us a lot of time to do anything for this channel, and that's very unfortunate because, we had a lot of plans of different things. We got one more part of the Bell Witch saga. That's going to close it up. It's not going to be as long as we were going to do, just from all the tragedy that has happened from working on it. It was going to be about 5 or 6 parts, cutting it down at 3. I hope to get one more Nightmare Nugget out before the end of this year, close up the year and whatnot. And then from that point, hopefully more LBL investigations. Hope to make it back down here. I'd love to get down, maybe camp in Werewolf Springs.
We seem to have a very interesting sound tonight.
Yeah, and it may not have been anything, but I mean,
it was interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting,
We would have liked to get closer, but it may not have been safe to get closer.
Exactly. But anyway, we hope you enjoyed this. Throughout the coming year, there's a lot of anger and contention between people in the cryptid community. Let's strive to all be better people, myself included. Let's just try to bring a lot of love and a lot of peace to this community. And Jesus peace, not hippie peace, Let's just be good to each other,
Be excellent to each other.
Be excellent to each other. And thank you, Gabby, in the words of Wayne from Wayne's World. Party time excellence.
No, Bill and Ted.
I'm going to cut that out.
You should be ashamed of yourself, Elijah.
Anyway, y'all have a very Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
And I am going to go watch Bill and Ted, apparently.
Yeah, you need to.
Have a good one, now. And so, this Christmas outing is over, and it is time for us to take our leave. But may God keep you and bless you this and every Christmas Eve. May all your Christmases be white, and all your winter days be bright. No sorrow. Merry Christmas from all of us here at Cryptid Studies Institute. Merry Christmas.